Ladies and gentlemen, the time has come. Let's give you some final predictions. Well, this is the video that a lot of you have probably been waiting for here on the channel, and it is the final Oscars predictions for all categories that the Academy is going to be awarding on Sunday evening for the 97th annual Academy Awards on ABC and also streaming live on Hulu this year. And this year, I'm thrilled that it's being hosted by Conan O'Brien, one of my all-time favorite comedians and former talk show host. I love that guy. I listen to his podcast religiously. He is truly one of the funniest people in the entertainment business. Now, in case you're wondering, how I come up with these predictions, I do obsess over award season for months every year. And I've been doing predictions all the way since back in the 1990s, way before we had as much research as we have now at our fingertips, especially with social media and everything else that you could tap into. I go with the precursors that I know historically have a good track record with kind of predicting what's going to happen at the Academy Awards. Not always. Sometimes I do kind of go against the mainline predictors out there, because of a hunch or a gut feeling or some singular or offhanded thing that's happened in the past that might match up with me in my mind that I can use as a precedent. In a rare instance, I may create a precedent with my prediction, but that's not really happening this year, just so you know. So there will be timestamps below. I'm going to do every single category of the 23 that are going to be handed out. I will go through them fairly quickly. When we get towards the top of the line categories, towards the end of the video, and along the way, if there are some races that I feel like are super tight, and I might feel like I need to maybe explain my pick if it's not a pick that the masses is throwing out there right now, I will do that to give a little more commentary. But for the most part, what I'm going to do for each one of these categories is I'm going to give you who I think is going to win, and then I'm also going to give you who I would vote for if I was on the Academy. So you will see a little gold statue on the one that I am predicting to win, whether it's performance or film or director or whatever it is, and you will see a little heart symbol on the movie, performance, director, whatever technical achievement that I would vote for. And if they match up, those icons will be on the same movie. Let's get into it. We're going to start with the Oscar shorts. First up is going to be live action short. Now, there's 15 shorts in total nominated every year in 3 different categories. I've only seen 2 out of the 15 shorts that are nominated. I usually do much better than that. I rarely get a chance to see all of them before the Academy Awards. What I'm going to pick in live action short is Alien. Alien. The title's weird, and that is one that I've seen. That's one of the 2 that I've seen, which is really why I'm picking it. I have a kind of connection to the film having seen it, and I think it is a very topical and important story about essentially immigration, deportation, a lot of things that we're facing, really the whole world is facing, but definitely that we're facing here in America right now. I would also say that that would be my vote. Now, in fairness, I haven't seen the other 4, so I almost have to vote for this one. I haven't seen any of the animated shorts. However, what I'm going to do is I'm going to predict Wonder to Wonder to be your animated short Oscar winner this year. It has already won 2 precursor awards, including at the Annies, which is basically the animation guild for the Academy. So that is too strong, in my opinion, to not predict it. Not having seen any of the other ones, I can't really speak on whether that's deserved or whether there's maybe competition in the category. So I'm going to kind of go with the obvious pick based on what's happened on the circuit so far, and I'm going to pick Wonder to Wonder, and I'll just throw up a heart and say that I would have voted for that too because I have no idea. And then the last short category would be for documentary short. The only other short that I saw is in this category, and it's also going to be the one that I'm going to predict to be the winner here, and that is The Only Girl in the Orchestra. I'll also say that that would be the one that I would vote for as well, having been that that's the only one I've seen. It's a really cool story, and I think it's going to win documentary short. I've heard some people predicting a documentary short named Incident. I didn't see it. I heard that that might be in the running as well, so look out for that one. The shorts are always just like a crapshoot for me. So there's those. The Only Girl in the Orchestra is my prediction and my vote in this category. All right, now we get on to some good stuff. First up, let's do original song. Your winner for original song this year is going to be El Mal from Emilia Perez. I'm sorry, I'm a hater of that movie, as you know if you follow my channel. I will tell you one thing, though. El Mal is a straight-up banger. I love that song. It is a really, really good song. Zoe Saldana is the showcase for that tune, which is a big reason why I think it's going to win original song too, even with all the Emilia Perez kind of baggage right now, which honestly, we don't even know if that affected the Academy. We won't really know until Oscars night. But I think if they have wins on the night, Zoe Saldana is at the center of the ones that they're going to get. And I'll explain more as I go through the process without spoiling anything. But the first win for Emilia Perez on Oscars night, from me, is going to be El Mal for your original song. And you might be shocked to find this out because I hate this movie. But that would be my vote. I listened to all these songs. I saw the movies and most likely heard the songs in the movies. Couldn't remember any of them, but could not forget El Mal. You know, there's ones that missed that would have easily gotten my vote, like Compress Repress from Challengers, Kiss the Sky from Wild Robot. But the other four in this category, even though I like some of the films here, the songs just did not hit for me at all. The only one that I think has a lasting to go on past the Academy Awards is El Mal, so that would also be my vote. When we go to Best Score, a clear snub in this category is Challengers. That would be my vote if it were here. That's my favorite score of the year from Reznor Ross. However, based on what we have in front of us, the 5 nominees that you see on the screen there, the winner for original score this year is going to be Daniel Blumberg for The Brutalist. Conclave stands a great chance too, but I think The Brutalist kind of grandiose scale of it all on a minuscule budget, especially for what the movie looks like. And that score really speaks to the triumphant nature of the experience of immigrating to America, essentially. And that score really captures it. It is also probably the most memorable beat from a score this year, which happens, every year there's a beat, but although I would say the strings in Conclave are kind of picking up steam in that regard. I think it's one of the two, but I'm going out with my predictions here, and I'm going to say Blumberg for The Brutalist is your winner, and it would also be my vote. I would vote for The Brutalist in this category, and I think a lot of the Academy members will as well. So far, the Academy is pleasing me because next up is Best Sound. I think your winner in this category, I hope your winner in this category is Dune Part 2. It's also going to be the one that I would vote for. The sound and the visual effects are going to go hand in hand, but it's got to be Dune in Best Sound of the ones nominated. There's some movies missing here that could have honestly given it a craft run for its money, like Civil War, Alien Romulus. There's a few that had an amazing sound design that just didn't show up in the short list and obviously didn't make the nominations. There's some surprise nominations in this category. 2 musicals in Best Sound is strange to me. And then The Wild Robot, an animated film. I think that speaks to the strength of The Wild Robot overall, although I don't think it stands a chance to win this category. I'm going with Dune Part 2 as the winner and also as my vote. I mentioned Best Visual Effects, which we'll cover next. That will also be Dune Part 2. Now, spoiler alert, the sound and the visual effects two-hander for Villeneuve and the Dune team is the only 2 awards that I think Dune is going to win on Oscars night. Visual effects will be the second one that I'm going to predict. The only film that I would give a pass to in upsetting Dune in this category would be Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. We're looking at multiple films that continue to up the quality of the VFX and for the Apes franchise, and it continues to be nominated because of that, but it has not won. The Apes franchise is essentially turning into the Diane Warren of visual effects, and it's tough to see. So, if the Academy has that sympathy bug with them, maybe they vote for Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes here, and it is an upset, but I'm not going to factor that into my final prediction. So I'm going to say Dune Part 2, and that's also going to be my vote in this category. All right, now it gets interesting in a few categories because I'm going to tell you, obviously, my prediction of what I think the Academy is going to award, but then it's going to kind of start to veer off of my path and what I would vote for if I was an Academy member in some of these categories. So when it comes to makeup and hairstyling, The Substance is 1,000% going to win this award. That's your winner. My vote is going to be for Nosferatu. Nosferatu was my favorite film of the year. It's my favorite horror film of the year. I love The Substance as well, and the makeup in both are tremendous. it's really close to a tie for me. What they did with Count Orlok in Nosferatu is, it's a situation where I would have never in a million years known that was Bill Skarsgård if his name wasn't on the poster. So my vote would be for Nosferatu, but I think your clear winner here is The Substance. For costume design, we also match up in this category. I would also vote for who I think the winner is, and in this case, it's going to be Wicked. Kind of like I said with Dune Part 2, I've only got Wicked winning 2 Academy Awards this year out of 10 nominations. To me, that just might not pan out. I feel like it's going to win a 3rd award. I just don't know what that award is. So it doesn't come into my predictions because I can't confidently say what the 3rd award is going to be. But in my head, I see Wicked upsetting somewhere and getting a 3rd. However, this is going to be one of their shoe-in wins for costume design. And it would also be the one I voted for. I love the costumes in Nosferatu, which I just mentioned. But I do think Wicked, with the multiple costumes that we see for Glinda and for the Shiz University students and what we see at the Emerald City when they go there, very elaborate costumes, very iconic, memorable costumes that were recreated in the film as well as some kind of pop art originality too. It's just too fantastical, too grand scale to not award. I mean, that's why this award exists, is for the costumes and the costume design that we got in a movie like Wicked. Regardless of how high you might be on the film, this is definitely a deserved award, especially among the nominees. So I'm going to go with Wicked as my vote, but also that's going to be your winner. Now, when it comes to production design, I'm also going to predict Wicked to be the winner in this category, but I'm going to veer off of that. That would not be my vote. I do think that the costume design award and the production design award very, very often go hand in hand. And sometimes we try to tell ourselves they won't. And every time we do that, not every time, but a lot of times when we do that, they still go together. Last year is a perfect example. People were battling between Poor Things and Barbie. Poor Things is going to get this one, Barbie's going to get this one. Or vice versa, depending on who you ask. Well, guess what? Poor Things got both. I mean, it's going to happen. So I think whoever wins costumes, or conversely, whoever wins production design, you can count on them for the other award. It's almost like a part 1 and part 2. They go together. So Wicked is going to be my prediction as the winner in production design. But my choice in this category, it's actually very, very hard for me to vote in this category because you have Nosferatu, The Brutalist, Conclave, and Dune Part 2. All 4 of those are honestly possibly the top 4 production designs this year. By default, what I decided to do, my vote would go to my favorite movie of the 4 that are left. And that's going to be Nosferatu. The gothic elements and the darkness of these castles and the landscapes. He also will do that thing where he adds in those pops of color very subtly. It's just a beautiful film, and the production design, as well as some other categories that we'll be talking about here shortly, make it a work of art. And like I said, I love all the movies in this category, and it was really tough. But my vote would be for Nosferatu. However, Wicked is going to be your winner for production design. Now, when it comes to best editing, I take this category extremely seriously for a lot of reasons, actually. I am a video editor. I do all kinds of edits kind of as a hobby, but I do that and I love doing it. My daughter went to film school. She's a professional editor and actually wants to work in the movie someday. She's only 23 years old, so she'll get there. And the other reason is because in my Oscar predictions, like I said, I've been doing since the 90s, I use the film that ends up winning Best Editing, or for that matter, the 5 that get nominated for Best Editing, as the 5 strongest candidates for Best Picture. All 5 of these movies for Best Editing are also nominated for Best Picture. Almost always happens that way, especially since they went to 10 nominees. Since we don't have the Ace Eddie Award yet, which is essentially the Editors Guild for the Academy, I have to go with the film that has gotten the most accolades in the precursors for editing. Right now, that's Conclave. Nick Emerson winning the BAFTA for editing for that, as well as some other accolades on the circuit, lead me to believe that it's hitting when some other players in this category have missed. Now, if we had the Ace Eddie, that's who I would be predicting, but we don't have that. It could still be Conclave, but we don't know yet. So Conclave is going to be my prediction to win Best Editing. My pick in this category would be for Sean Baker for a Nora. Can talk a little bit more about this on the night of the Oscars and after the Oscars when I do my wrap-up show. But editing is going to be a big factor in what happens on Oscars night. At least I think so. So Conclave, if this happens and wins editing, then the package is going to start to be built for them, and Anora is going to have to start building its package. And if you've noticed, I haven't predicted Anora to win anything as of yet, but hang tight. All right, now cinematography is a tough one as well because I want to predict Nosferatu. Cinematographers awarded it as the film for cinematography. That's the film that I would vote for, so that's going to be my heart in this category, Nosferatu. However, I think you have to have a Best Picture nomination to be considered Best Cinematography. It is a rare circumstance that you would win Best Cinematography if your film was not in the Best Picture nominees, since they went to 10 nominees. So for that reason, I'm going to pick the film that I think stands the best chance to win Best Picture of the nominees and also has a nomination here. With the controversy with Emilia Perez, I don't think that's going to be coming anywhere near the Best Picture statue. And also, it's not good cinematography in that movie. It's actually the one film in this category that just does not belong, frankly. Maria's not nominated for Best Picture, and Nosferatu is not nominated for Best Picture. So it really comes down to Dune Part 2 and The Brutalist for me. That's how I'm doing at least that's how I'm going about my predictions. And I think The Brutalist is ranked higher in likelihood to win than Dune Part 2. So I'm going to pick The Brutalist to be your winner. Lowell Crowley for Best Cinematography, with Nosferatu being my vote. Animated feature, my prediction in this category actually makes me a little bit sad because I kind of wanted to go out on a limb for the movie Flow. That would be the movie I would vote for. That's going to get my heart in this category. However, I think your winner has to be The Wild Robot. I think DreamWorks and Universal put so much behind that movie. And on top of that, it's a great film. It made a ton of money at the box office. It's widely digestible, hugely accessible. Everybody saw it, all their family, kids, and everybody. And it's a touching story. It holds weight to it. It's not just a mindless kids movie. I think Flow is a better story in terms of like the grit that it took to like get that movie made, and coming from Latvia, and just the independent kind of nature of it all and grassroots feeling that movie speaks to me. Now, it might speak to a lot of the Academy members, and you may have an upset in this category, but I wasn't confident enough to predict that. So my prediction for animated feature is going to be The Wild Robot, with Flow getting my personal vote. All right, for documentary feature, I've seen 3 out of 5 of these. I didn't get a chance to see them all because they're not available to me in my city, and I couldn't find them online. So I am going to predict one of the ones that I have seen to win. And the winner in this category, I think, is going to be Porcelain War. It's a film that deals with the war in Ukraine, which has been a recent winner with 40 Days in Mariupol. It's a very important story, a very timely story. No Other Land is, frankly, should be the winner. That's going to be my vote for No Other Land. However, in terms of predictions, I had to predict Porcelain War because it's the only film that has any kind of recognition on the circuit. It won the DGA for documentary filmmaker, and that's a guild that crosses over with the Academy. So that's going to get it a lot of notoriety if they hadn't already seen it, because it won that award, which is considered a pretty big one in the industry. No Other Land has got nothing until the Indie Spirit Awards. But at that ceremony, it was not nominated against any of the other films in this category, and also it was after voting had closed. No Other Land could also be seen, I don't agree with it, but it could also be seen as a somewhat divisive film based on the subject matter about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. So it's a touchy subject, possibly, for some Academy members, but it's just been missing. It hasn't been winning in places that, frankly, everybody thought it would based on the strength of the story and how high quality it is. So because of what's happened on the circuit so far, I want No Other Land to win, and if it did, I wouldn't be surprised. But I'm going to predict Porcelain War as your winner. Again, it's the only movie that's received any kind of Academy-friendly accolades thus far. So for that reason, I feel like I have to pick it. But No Other Land would be my vote. For international feature, and I was just talking about precursors with documentary and a couple other ones. And truth be told, I do put a lot of weight in that when I make my predictions of who's going to win. When it comes to international feature, though, I'm being abstract with my prediction. And I'm going on a limb for I'm Still Here from Brazil. It's a movie that I love, that I've been championing for several months on this channel. Emilia Perez, on paper, the resume on the award circuit for that film, especially in international categories, at 2 major awards ceremonies it won that, including the Globes. I think the controversy is going to have an impact in categories that are not obvious. And because of the surge of the last month, and definitely when voting was open for I'm Still Here, I think that surge is going to be enough to power it past the resume that Emilia Perez has built, as well as the controversy having a negative effect on what they built up. It came down a little. If that didn't happen, and if the Academy didn't care about Carla's statements or the controversy or how it would look if that film won in major categories, then Emilia Perez will win, because it was winning and it got 13 nominations. They loved it. I mean, no matter what we think, they loved it. So the international voting body and the members in that group would most likely reach out to vote for this film. I just don't know how it's going to affect it. But I do know that the surge from I'm Still Here is real. The passion behind it is real. And I think that a ton of Academy voters have seen that movie in the last few weeks. When voting was open, it was hot at the right time. Fernanda Torres's win, the narrative with her mom, I think that all of that is going to kind of add up to an upset on Oscars night in an international feature. And I think it will also tell us if the controversy had any kind of impact, because frankly, Emilia Perez should win this based on what's happened on the award circuit. But I'm going to predict I'm Still Here from Brazil to be your winner. That will be an upset if that happens. I could get it wrong, but I just think that is the movie that should win this category. And I also think it has a great chance to do so based on some of these extracurricular factors that have been going on. It would also obviously be my vote, as you've heard how much I love this film. Although I did really struggle with voting for flow as well, because like I said earlier when we talked about animated feature, I just love that artist guy in his basement on his laptop making this movie that ended up getting nominated for an Oscar. I mean, I'm simplifying it, but that's kind of how it feels to me. And I love that film as well. But I'm Still Here as your winner that I'm predicting, and it would also be my personal pick. Adapted screenplay, we can spend literally 10 seconds on this. The winner is Conclave. Peter Strawn is going to win adapted screenplay. He's won literally everywhere for that adaptation, and he's going to win here as well. My vote in this category actually would be for Sing Sing. I think it is a brilliant screenplay that really was emotional and touched me. The screenplay for Conclave is different because it's like intrigue and mystery and almost like thriller elements. Sing Sing is much more of an emotional, heartfelt screenplay, but I loved it. That would be my vote. Your winner easily is Conclave. All right, guys, I have not predicted one award for Nora yet. I thought about it for editing, and I didn't. I went with Conclave, and I just gave Conclave adapted screenplay too. So if you're keeping score and you follow the Oscars, Conclave now has a basket full of goodies that is eligible for a Best Picture win. It doesn't need to do anything else. If my predictions are right and it has editing and adapted screenplay, it could walk on the stage and be in the envelope for Best Picture. That's all it needs. That's the combo you need. You need, of the 3, screenplay, director, and editing, you need 2 of those. So Conclave has 2 now. Where's Anora? Well, hold that thought. Let's talk about original screenplay. My prediction to win this category is going to be Sean Baker for Anora. And here he goes. He's got something to put in his basket to possibly take on the stage for Best Picture. Hang tight. I think it's going to be Anora for original screenplay. I really do. I think the only real major competition in this category is Jesse Eisenberg for A Real Pain, and A Real Pain does not have a Best Picture nomination. Now, I could actually see that trend breaking, because since the Academy went to 10 nominees, nobody has won original screenplay unless they were nominated for Best Picture. It has not happened to this moment. I could see that trend breaking with Eisenberg's script, because it has been winning in places that frankly I didn't think it would. It did lose at WGA though, and it lost to Anora. That's a guild that crosses over with the Academy. If it had won at WGA, A Real Pain I mean, then I would probably be predicting for a record-breaking win, and that it would be breaking that trend that I just mentioned. But because it didn't, and because Baker won the Screenwriters Guild, basically, for screenplays. Now, I know some films were ineligible, like Coralie Farjas for The Substance was not there. WGA has weird rules. It did come out superior on top for some of these screenplays that it's up against right here in this category. Coralie could shock everyone because we don't have enough precursor info to really say if they would vote for that enough to get it a win. I would be thrilled if they do. However, I do have evidence to say that Sean Baker is most likely going to get at least a lot of votes, and I'm assuming he's going to get enough votes. So my pick for original screenplay is going to be Sean Baker for Anora. However, my vote, ironic plot twist, would be for Coralie Farjas for The Substance. What a batshit crazy... Man, it's just fun to be weird, you know? And she killed it in that screenplay. What a fucking ride that movie is. That would be my vote for original screenplay, but I think it's going to go to Sean Baker. All right, as we get to the official top-of-the-line categories now, the acting categories and the pictures, the supporting roles are so easy to predict this year that it just honestly makes me sick. I'd like to have a race, but we don't have a race in the supporting categories this year. Your winner for Best Supporting Actor is going to be Kieran Culkin for A Real Pain. He doesn't have the Best Picture nomination like we just talked about with the screenplay, but he's been sweeping. It is such a strong performance that everybody has gotten behind. I don't even know if there's a number 2 in this category. If there is a number 2, it's probably like 95% for Kieran and 5% for whoever's number 2. That's how far the gap is. It's probably Edward Norton, maybe Guy Pearce. I mean, I don't know. I mean, they all don't, none of them stand a chance. Kieran Culkin is walking away with this. Now, my vote in this category would be for Guy Pearce in The Brutalist. He was my favorite performance in that movie. And I've watched many of his performances over the last several decades, and I think this is the best one he's ever turned in. It's very layered. It's very, like, enigmatic. Like, you know, he's a bad guy. He's a very sympathetic kind of, like, humanitarian. Like, and I don't think he knows who he is. And Guy Pearce really relayed that to the audience. So that would be my vote in this category. There's several in this category I enjoy, but I think Kieran Culkin is your winner, and it's a cakewalk. Another extremely easy prediction to make is for supporting actress. I wish it had not been easy. I'll tell you why in a second. But your winner for Best Supporting Actress this year is going to be Zoe Saldana for Emilia Perez. And that's the second of 2 awards that Emilia Perez will win on the night, at least based on my predictions. My vote in this category, anybody that follows my channel knows this, but it's Ariana Grande. I would vote for her literally in a split second for this role. She should have won somewhere on the circuit. And if members of the Screen Actors Guild or the Critics' Choice, if you guys are watching, we failed. We messed up. Now, we have a part 2 coming, so we could rectify it possibly in the future, but I hate that mentality because then what if that doesn't happen? Then we're not getting Glinda again through the eyes of Ariana Grande. I think her performance deserved at a minimum, like a Screen Actors Guild award. To have her talk about what the role means to her and to just know that she was loved for what she did in that movie. Zoe Saldana's performance is great. I prefer Ariana's, but based on what's been happening, which is essentially a Zoe sweep, there is no way that she's going to the Oscars and not winning. Much like Kieran Culkin, it is a guarantee, absolutely. They probably already shipped the statue to her house with her name on it. Zoe Saldana is your winner this year for supporting actress. But my vote, of course, is for Ariana Grande. Now, things get interesting as we get into our lead categories. Those are a little more up in the air than a lot more up in the air than our supporting categories are. Let's start with lead actor, as that one is a little bit easier. I'm going with Adrien Brody as your winner for The Brutalist. My vote, and who I think could upset, although it's like a 75-25. So it's not likely. It would be like, you know, the 16 seed beating the 1 seed in the first round of March Madness. It happens, but it's extremely rare. Brody has been sweeping up until the Screen Actors Guild Awards. However, the SAG, the implication would be that they were not a huge fan of Brody's movie, The Brutalist, because it got nothing else. Whereas A Complete Unknown, Timothy's movie, got 4 nominations at the Screen Actors Guild out of a possible 6. So because of the support for A Complete Unknown was obviously so much greater than the support for The Brutalist, I predicted Timothy to win the SAG, but I said when I did that it wasn't going to affect my Oscars predictions, because obviously the Academy voters are nothing like the Screen Actors Guild voters. Even though there is some crossover, it's just too broad to think that that would transfer over on just the sole win. He would need the support from other bodies, which frankly have been going to The Brutalist and more specifically to Adrian Brody. So because of that and because of the juice that Brody has had this award season, and he's a previous Oscar winner, nothing would please me more than to be wrong in this prediction, because Timothy, like I said, is my heart in this category. But the prediction that I'm going to give you to win Best Actor this year is Adrian Brody for The Brutalist. Good God, do I have to talk about lead actress, or do you want me just to put the thing on the thing? This is a category that every single year trips us up. There has not been a definitive lead actress winner in decades. It always comes down to the last couple days, the wire. Sometimes it comes down to the show, and that was last year. Lily Gladstone and Emma Stone were 50-50 in terms of how many people were predicting them. And we didn't know, including Emma Stone, if you remember her reaction, until they called the name. And I think that's what we're in for on Oscars night. A lot of people that you listen to or that you watch, or maybe even yourself, are going to predict Demi Moore to win this award for The Substance. And I would not argue that with you. She has an absolute ironclad narrative, yes, but she also has collected a beautiful award season resume that includes wins pretty much everywhere except for the BAFTA. So you may be surprised, unless you know me personally, because you're not going to be surprised. But if you don't, you might be surprised to hear I'm predicting Mikey Madison from Anora to be the winner for lead actress at the Academy Awards this year. Demi Moore is the 3 inches behind her alternate. That would not shock me if it happened. But my prediction is going to be Mikey. The reason being is because of the correlation from the BAFTA to the Oscar and the strength of these movies that these ladies are in. The strength of Anora, and you'll find out in a couple more categories here in a second, the strength of Anora is if I had to give it a grade out of 100 among the Academy, I would give it an 85. The Substance, the Academy grade, I would probably give it a 50. Not me personally. Personally, I would give both movies 100. I love them. But based on what I think the Academy would think of these films. So it is a stronger film that's going to have a bigger haul, because so far The Substance only has the makeup win. And I'm saying if my predictions were true to life. So even though there's correlation with that as well, the correlation for makeup and actress is not nearly as strong as what I think the correlation for actress with BAFTA and the 3 major top-of-the-line categories for a film would be. And I also am predicting Mikey because I'm having a hard time visualizing that Anora would win multiple top-of-the-line prestigious awards and not the woman that played Anora and that was in essentially every frame of the film carrying us through the narrative. So I know that some people that I trust and respect have been saying that Anora has so many different paths where it could win just picture, it could win everything that it's up for, it could win a combo of any two things, picture, screenplay, Mikey, picture. There's so many different combinations. The combination I'm going with started with original screenplay, as you know, and now I'm choosing to add Mikey Madison to that haul. So we have something else in the Anora basket now. What else are we going to put in there? What's going to happen in my next categories? Mikey Madison is my prediction for lead actress at this year's Academy Awards. But man, Demi Moore is right there. Literally standing over her shoulder with her little doggy, just waiting. It's going to be a nail biter. Let me put it to you that way. My vote in this category is I would probably abstain from voting because there are 3 women in this category that are literally, and I'm not even joking you, tied for my 3 favorite performances of the year. I love all of them equally. And what if one of them watches this and that's not the person I put the heart symbol on? Look, Mikey Madison's going to win the Oscar, as I predicted, or at least that's my prediction. I've been riding with her all season for lead actress. Demi Moore is not single-handedly, but has a huge role in bringing horror back to the Academy. My favorite genre of film. I am a horror head. That is so important to me. And then the performance is amazing too, but the narrative, the career narrative, speaks to me and probably speaks to a lot of people in Hollywood and on the Academy, frankly. She's been doing it for so long, and she deserves anything that she gets and everything that she's gotten so far on the circuit. So me predicting Mikey is in no way downplaying Demi's performance or Demi's credibility to win this award. I think it is very deserved for both women. I'm merely predicting Mikey based on what I know historically of the things that have happened so far on the circuit. So the major question is going to be, is Demi's narrative, which you can't measure on the circuit, is that going to outweigh those factors? And it very well could. I'm predicting Mikey. We're talking about my vote. I'm avoiding it. Fernanda Torres for I'm Still Here was a performance of all of these that affected me emotionally the most. You know, The Substance affected me for the kind of horror love that I have and just seeing this like sicko story play out on screen. The Mikey Madison performance affected me not emotionally so much, although the ending kind of did. So now that I think about it, but it affected me because it was a Star is Born performance, right? It was Mikey Madison, who I've been riding with since she was one of the ghost faces in Scream. I love her too from the horror genre. I love all three ladies so much. What I would probably do is I would probably put all three of their names in a hat and I would probably draw a name out, and that's the one I would vote for. But for the purposes of this video, because I've been riding with this young starlet who I admire and can't wait to see her career pan out in Hollywood. I've been riding with her since May when this film premiered at the Cannes Film Festival. I've been saying it was one of my favorite films of the year. I've been saying she was going to win Best Actress. I just predicted her to win Best Actress. So of course, I have to give my vote to Mikey Madison. Fernanda Torres, Demi Moore, if you're watching this, can I vote for three people? I don't think they let Academy members do that. I think I can only vote for one person. In all seriousness, though, that's why this category is so tight this year and most years. Ladies, thank you so much for the gift that you gave to the world of cinema this year and to movie lovers like me. These three films, The Substance, Anora, and I'm Still Here, I could watch on a loop every month for the next 10 years of my life. They are amazing, and they are among the best of the year. And these performances, if there was ever a reason to have a three-way tie in a category at the Oscars, this is it. And I salute all of you. So my final predictions, Anora's getting hooked up here. Let's keep it going. So Anora, if my predictions panned out, would have lead actress and original screenplay so far, right? So would that be enough for them to win Best Picture? Not really, although it would still be possible. But I think they still need, because they didn't get editing. So I think Sean Baker still needs director, and I'm going to actually predict him to be Best Director at this year's Academy Awards. Look, he won the DGA. He won the DGA, but not only that, he won the PGA and the WGA. He won 3 out of the 4 major guilds that are precursors for the Academy Awards. That is a hefty, hefty resume. Like I said, it's like an 85% probability, so of course it could lose. And if it did, it would most likely be to Conclave, because Conclave has the package to win as well. So it would be it would come down to the preferential balloting and how that panned out and ranked. It would be essentially like the Conclave. Now, if Stanley Tucci's back there in the room counting votes, I'm going to call BS. Otherwise, I think we're looking at Sean Baker for Best Director for Anora. And my vote in this category would actually be Coralie Farjah for The Substance. Much like I said with the screenplay, the vision and the visionary style that Coralie has burst onto the scene with this pop art, bloodbath, violent, like psychosexual, manic, fever dream. And not only did she write it, she turned it into visuals in the movie. And the direction is uncanny. I mean, it would be, I love Anora, but Coralie would get my vote 100%. Now, I don't think the majority of the Academy is going to think that way, which is why I think Baker's got it locked in. Plus, like I mentioned, the DGA and the historical data on the circuit would lead me to believe that it's him. So my prediction for director this year is Sean Baker for Anora, with my vote and my heart going to Coralie Farjah for The Substance. So that only leaves Best Picture of the Year. I think you guys probably know what my prediction is going to be. It is going to be Anora this year. I think Anora wins Best Picture. I also think that probably, now I do this thing where I don't watch predictions until, final predictions I mean, until after I get mine. So I don't know. But my guess is 90% plus of the pundits and people that do this are predicting Anora. So we could be in for a giant upset, and we could all be sitting there like this when Conclave wins. However, I think that's the alternate if the preferential balloting goes awry. But right now, I think it's just too strong of a case to not predict Anora, even though there is the slightest chance that it might lose. So my prediction for Best Picture is Anora. My vote in this category, there's a lot of movies I love in this category. I talked about I'm Still Here earlier, The Substance, Anora, obviously. But my favorite movie, I decided to just give my vote to what my favorite movie among the 10 nominees is. Even though I know this movie stands probably the least likely chance to win. It's probably like number 10, maybe number 9 on the Academy's list. It's probably the first or second to get eliminated. And knowing that, you would think I wouldn't vote for it, but I'm going to, because the mentality I'm going to use is just my favorite film among the nominees. If you saw my rankings video, you know that, but it's Dune Part 2. So Dune Part 2 would get my vote. That was my number 2 movie of 2024, only behind Nosferatu, which of course did not get nominated here. So your winner for Best Picture this year is Anora, with my heart going to Dune Part 2. There you go, guys. It's locked in. As I'm recording this, it is Wednesday, February 26th at basically midnight, 12:17 a.m. But this video won't come out till probably that time tomorrow. I won't be able to get this out till Thursday evening, afternoon, or evening. But those are my final predictions for this year's Academy Awards. What did you think? I think Anora's Hall is picture, director, screenplay, and Madison. I think the only thing it doesn't get is editing. And I think when it doesn't get editing and that goes to Conclave, then it's going to be an interesting night. But I think as we get towards that latter part of the night, we're going to see the Anora wave kick in. Demi Moore could obviously win as well, which would make that wave a little less. And I would honestly would not be upset because I love Demi Moore. But that's what I'm going with. I want to know what you think. I want to know what categories you think I missed. Where do we differ? Out of the 23 categories, how many am I going to get right? Tell me whatever you want to tell me in the comments. I really enjoyed this award season. It's going to be exciting. The Academy Awards are going to be thrilling because we really don't know, and there are a ton of different scenarios. Honestly, the only categories that are like definitive, that I think are like locks, are the supporting acting categories. That's really it. I mean, maybe you could say costumes for Wicked. But I mean, honestly, well, adapted screenplay for Conclave. But I mean, there's like maybe 4 or 5 that are like locks out of 23. So that's pretty exciting. Let me know what you guys thought down in the comments. I know Oscar season is coming to a close, but on the night of the Academy Awards, I will be doing a live stream after the show to talk about the results. And I'm also planning on filming my reaction that I'll probably put out the day after as well to some of the winners. Top of the line, I might not do all of them, but I'll react to some of the surprises if we have any. And I'll put that on there on Monday for you. The season's coming to a close, guys. I really want to know what you thought of these predictions. Let me know down below. Please subscribe, because even after the Academy Awards, I'm never gonna stop loving movies. So there's a lot of stuff coming down the pike, whether it be trailer reactions, movie reviews, countdowns, top 10 lists, rankings, all kinds of crap. So if you like movies, follow me, and I'll see you on Oscars night. I hope you can tune into my live stream. Thanks for watching this video. I'll see you out here next time in the garage.